This is the Gyroor, I think that's how you would say that, Gyroor Electric Scooter slash maybe e-bike, small e-bike. This model is the actual called the C1, and not to be confused with a C1 kayak, because it is a actual like scooter with an electric motor on it. I get more comments out of this. I get more questions and people asking about where they can get one of these than all of my e-bikes combined. Seems like everywhere I go, people just like the looks of this thing, because at first you're wondering what this thing is. Is it a scooter? Is it an e-bike? Well, it's kind of a hybrid of both, in my opinion. You know, a quick little trip of 1 to 2 miles, this thing is fun. I almost ride this more now than I do my e-bike, because it's so fun to get out and zip around on it. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of cool looking when you kind of look over. So yeah, let me just kind of like go ahead and break down the specs of this thing. And what I'll do, I'll start back here at the back and just kind of work my way up and kind of like give you some of the features of this thing, what you get with it. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so first let's just go over what you get in the box. So when I got this thing in, basically it just came in a little small box. It kind of looked like a TV in it. It's kind of crazy. And the only thing I had to do was put this basket on the back. You can actually run it without the basket. Obviously drop the seat down, and they made it pretty simple. I left these on here just for the purpose of this video. See these arrows? You just line this stem up and there's a bolt down in there. And you're gonna have to put this on, by the way. So you're gonna have to put your handlebars on, but it was very simple to install this thing. Let me just open, because check that out. See that bolt right there? You're just gonna tighten that down, and that's it. It locks into place and you're good to go. And you could see the charge port, but looking at it right here, it's got a little cover that kind of goes down. This battery is fully charged. I just charged it. And the battery, so let's go into some of the specs of it, by the way. So the battery is a 36 volt, 7.5 amp hour battery. The charge time is around about 5 to 6 hours is what I've been seeing on that, and the maximum range on that battery is 20 miles according to them, and 20 miles in obviously, you know, perfect conditions. So that's the battery. And looking at this deck, it's a 9.5 inch deck, which is good. You know, you can put your feet side by side, or you can put one in back. I usually run one back and one forward and just prop my foot up right here. Just feels like I get a little better contact on that. So looking at this back tire, you know, you got a little fender. It's got a 450 watt hub motor. This little motor has been impressive for me. I did do a speed test on it. I will go over the speed modes here in a minute, but right now let's just keep going over the features. Rear tail light, it's also, this is a brake light. I don't know if you can see it flashing in a video. There it is. You can see it flashing when you mash the brakes, and that's included into the battery. So no more switching back here or having to worry about batteries. You can see the wire runs down inside the battery there. It's got the little seat right there. The ride height on this can go from like, I think 4'9" to 6'1", 6'2". And like I said, I'm 5'11", and I run the seat right in the middle, and that seems about perfect for me, where I can kind of put my feet down and walk and ride it like that. Grippy surface right here kind of reminds you of a skateboard on that. Once again, fenders in the front headlight. This headlight was pretty bright, and to turn the headlight on, you're gonna double tap that, and you could see on the display, the little headlight signal just came on. And I had rode this at night. I've rode it down on the trail. I love riding at night, actually. And you just kind of like zoom around. And also, you know, I have a helmet that has a brake light on it. So you can kind of see my helmet right there has a brake light and a headlight on it. Because the brake light on this thing is pretty low. And it's a tail light also, by the way. So the tail light's low. So I recommend getting, this is the X-Nito helmet. Kind of gives you a little more visibility on that. The tires on this thing, what's cool is these are 12-inch pneumatic tires. They actually hold 40 PSI tires. This can hold up to 40 PSI. I don't know, you can see it on there. 40 PSI right there. Having pneumatic tires on both the front and back kind of gives you a more comfortable ride. Like it just absorbs the ride a little bit better, because this thing does not have shock absorbers on it. The only shock absorber is kind of in the seat right here. You can see it's got a pretty big springs in the seat, but these pneumatic tires seem to work really well. And as far as brakes on it's dual disc with mechanical disc brakes, and they're 140 millimeter rotors. And for a vehicle this size, that's more than adequate to stop this thing. I was able to stop it pretty easy. So yeah, they seem to work just great for me. So let's go up here to the actual handlebars. You get the dual levers here, and they do have a motor shut off. So when you pull the levers, it also shuts the motor off. This is the back brakes, that's the front brakes. It has a mechanical bell, which I hate these things. I wish they would have integrated a horn in somewhere. It has one button on and off. It's got adjustable, so you can rotate this. So depending on your height, if I'm shorter, I would rotate these down because these hand grips are actually pretty good hand grips. They're not screw on, but it's got a half twist throttle. You can see that, so it's a half twist, which is easy to kind of like mash my hand and just hold it like that. You don't have to hold it the whole time. One thing that's cool about this is, you know, I can see this display with my polarized lenses on, the way this display is made. It's got a mode button there. The mode, it's got 1, 2, and 3. So you got 3, that's 3 mode, 1. It has a little bit of a delay, 2 and 3, and you can see the battery percentage. I do love this. A lot of, and it gives you a speedometer. So yeah, there's the 3 modes there, and max weight that they suggest on this is, I've seen anywhere from 220 to 265, and that's also with weight in here. So maxed out, that's actually a lot of weight, and it seemed to pull me just fine on the flats. On the flats, it goes perfect. It can do a slight incline, maybe 5 to 10% incline, but I do have to use my feet. If I go any higher than that, I will have to like use my feet and kind of like push off the ground on that. And then portability of this thing, like I showed you before, you just put that down and you can do that. And then you can also remove this seat like that. And look at the this thing is seriously like what? I think it's like less than 40 pounds, the whole thing here with the battery, which is kind of crazy if you think about it for something that small. So you could easily fit it in the back of like a hatchback, an SUV, or like a large size trunk or something like that. Let's go ahead and click over to some riding and some random speed tests, because I did take this thing through some gravel. I did take it down some grass. Surprisingly, you know, I'm out here on a little trail. You can be riding along like this and you can easily hit these little side trails. So let's go ahead and click over to the speed test and see what that does now. I've got it in mode 1 right here. I'm going to go throttle only from a dead stop. We'll see how accurate the speedometer is on this thing. So GPS has a little bit of a lag on it, by the way. So this is using GPS and that's actually using the tire. 9, 10, so that actually looks fairly accurate actually. Within 1 mile an hour, I give these bikes, you know, if it's 1 mile an hour, I'll give it that. So it looks like top speed was 9 miles per hour on 1. A walking kind of start. Throttle only. Well, already it feels faster. 12, 13. So they're saying 13 miles an hour. It's 12 miles on the GPS, but you know, it seems like it holds right at 12, 13. Pretty easy on 2. From a dead stop. Let's go ahead and put it on 3 and try 3. Give it a little kick, get us going. Full throttle. 10, it hit 10 pretty fast. 13. Well, they're saying 14, 15. That's a good top speed on this whole thing. This thing is fun. And by the way, you don't turn it much because it's so small. You lean it a lot. Very impressive on that. I don't want to let go of it. Ooh, that's a very tiny turning radius on us. You just zip around people with this thing. And it's not like a bike, so you don't feel like you're on a bike blowing their hair back. The seat is, I noticed the seat has a good cushion to it. All right, so top speed looked like I hit 16 miles per hour in top speed, and then average has been about 10. Now, obviously, that's going to vary depending on your weight, going downhill, uphill, and all that. But that's pretty impressive as far as that little speed test that I did back and forth right there. And it's running on gravels right now like it's nothing. All right, everybody, there it was. There's my little walkthrough and kind of like on trail riding and testing. And let's just kind of go over my final thoughts of this thing. Who do I think this thing would be great for? I think this would be great for anybody that's intimidated by an e-bike or a fast scooter that just doesn't like that, because the scooters have these little small wheels. It's easy to wipe out on those things. And an e-bike is, for some, is just too intimidating. So I think this would be great for someone just kind of learning. And the age recommendation, I would say from 12 years old to 100 years old, because the ability to put your feet up here and ride flat or just put them down and then scoot along is really fun. Like I said, and then when you're in an urban area with a lot of people, you can put your feet down, and it's a little different than being on an e-bike. You can kind of just like walk through. So you can kind of walk with this, or if your buddy or somebody's walking beside you, it's easy to walk. For the price, I think that everything I threw at it, it handled well. And I have been riding it for around about 3 weeks now, really kind of like on different terrain, going off-road and mostly trail riding, but it does its best on like flats. The pneumatic tires, they're wide, they're not too big, but they're big enough to kind of go over things. The range has been absolutely phenomenal. The range on it, it seems to held up really good on the range. There's a little kickstand on it, but I can tell y'all, you have to be careful with this kickstand. I have probably hit that kickstand on the pavement more times because you lean this thing a lot. You lean it more than you actually turn it. The turning radius is very small on it, so you lean it. I find myself leaning and using my foot and like laying my foot down to turn because that works just fine. I do wish it had a horn instead of that bell. Quality of this thing, I've talked to them and they seem to be very like up on their quality. Everything's been QC'd. You can see the little QC'd on all of it. And then I looked up a lot of research on these things, and they have nothing but great reviews, 5-star reviews everywhere I've looked, because for the price, I don't think you can go wrong with it. As far as my backpack, I know y'all are going to say, what kind of backpack is that? This is the Everfun backpack, and it's kind of like a hydration backpack, and it has reflective right here. It has a place here for like gear. I love the adjustment of it. You can watch this. You can open it up here, and that opens up, and you can stick a jacket down in here, because in here, I'll run my wallet and a toolkit. I keep a toolkit on me. It holds a water nicely there, but it also has hooks here. Down in here's another big storage pocket for down in here. I got my keys, an extra charger, and then you've got a way of holding it right here. And these are reflective, and then it has a chest strap going around. It's adjustable here, and then another chest strap, a waist strap, which I always love a waist strap. My other one doesn't. Nice padded right here for breathability and padded up on your back. You know, it has the hydration pack here, which I don't have that set up, but I do like that it has these little features. Look at all the stuff I have in here, extra filming stuff, you know, some sunglasses, some gloves. I'll leave links to the Gyroor C1 and the Everfun Pack, and you know, the X-Nito helmet. This is my favorite setup for my like buzzing around town or a parking lot or something. So yeah, there it is, everybody. That's all I got today on the, you know, the Gyroor C1 and Everfun Pack. Let's get out of here. Woo!